This day I am saddened for the town of Chapel Hill, a town known as Southern Heaven, known as progressive. I, Clyde Clark Jr., who has been known as part of the Sanitation02, was fired from Chapel Hill Public Works Solid Waste Department October the 29th, 2010, after being employed for 10 years for the town. We believe retaliation from the town because of our union involvement and outspokenness about safety conditions on the job. Being a native of Chapel Hill, civil rights figure run prominent throughout my family history. A.D. Clark, Adolphus Clark, an active and highly respected member of the black community, A.D. Clark was responsible for the first swimming pool that allowed blacks to swim in the town of Chapel Hill. My Aunt Rebecca and Uncle John and Leroy Clark was a community leader and political organizer. The building in Chapel Hill where my Aunt Rebecca worked was later named after her. The pool that A.D. was responsible for in Chapel Hill Hargraves Community Center was named after A.D. Adolphus Clark. The Clarks were determined that their people would not have to live in the degraded society that they were experiencing. Now ask the question, how could these so-called leaders allow in 2014 someone from the Clark family that lives in the shelter for fighting for fairness in the workplace? Yes, at this time, I live in the Chapel Hill shelter, but we will continue to fight until justice prevails. Thank you.
Good morning, Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill portrays itself as a liberal and progressive town, a town that prides itself in justice and civil rights. Clyde and I, we took an extraordinary stand in the workplace for justice. In April of 2010, we joined the union. In May and August of 2010, we, as a group member of the union, met and talked with the mayor, Mark Kleinsman. We talked about the problems we were having on the job. The mayor promised he would do what he could to help. We asked the mayor to ensure us that dealing on responsibilities to grievance were followed, and that workers' right to meet and confer were upheld. Clyde Clark Jr. and I, Reverend Bigelow, were shop stewards in the union. We helped all the workers file grievance. We exercised our rights to challenge the town, racist and dangerous practice. Now, at the time when we were talking to the mayor of Chapel Hill, we didn't have a clue that the town had put aside $65,000 of taxpayer people's money to hire and sign a secret contract with an outside party. The contract was between the town and Capital Association Industrial, known as CAI, which promotes union-free workplace, a right-wing consulting company that advertised it helps municipalities prevent unions from gaining a foothold in their workplaces. The town met with one of CAI private investigators who charged the town $200 per hour and challenged collectively bargain a strategy. The CAI private investigator had been directed to dig up any dirt he could find on the Sanitation02. On September the 20th, the town of Chapel Hill placed Clyde Clark and I on administration leave and instructed us to stay off town property with no written or specific charges against us. We were ever provided. On October 29, 2010, the town of Chapel Hill fired us without due process. In the midst of the worst recession in our country history since the 1930s, we were fired for trying to continue the legacy and work of Clyde Jr., great uncle and aunt Leroy Clark, A.D. Clark, John Clark, and Rebecca Clark. And the list goes on for the Clarks. I once read, justice too long delayed is justice denied. When a Negro leader who has reputation of purity and honesty, which has benefited the whole labor movement citizen, it has motives, should not be reviled, nor his earnestness rebuked. Instead, the possibility that he is revealing a weakness in the labor movement, which it can ill afford, should receive thoughtful examination. A man who has dedicated his long and thoughtless life to the labor movement cannot be raising questions harmful to any more than a lifelong devoted parent can become the enemies of his own child. The report of a committee may smother with legal constructions a list of complaints and dispose of it for the day. But if it buries a far larger truth, it has disposed of nothing and made justice more elusive. Our leaders have been fighting the wrong fight. History is a great teacher. Now everyone knows that the labor movement did not diminish the strength of the nation, but enlarged it by raising the living standards of millions. Labor wonderfully created a market of industry and lifted the whole North nation to undreamed levels of production. Those who today attack labor forget these simple truths, but history remembers them. Labor Next monument struggle emerged in the 30s when it wrote into federal law the right freedom to organize and bargain collectively. It was warned to go slow, but to be moderate, not to stir up strife. But labor knew it was always the right time to do right, and it spared its organization over the nation and achieved equality organizationally with capital. The day of economic democracy was born. The Negro in the United States read this history of labor and find it mirrors their own experience. We are confronted by powerful forces telling us to rely on the goodwill and understanding of those who profit by exploiting us. They deplore our discontent. They resent our will to organize, so that we may guarantee that humanity will prevail and equality will be exalted. They are shocked that the action organizations sit in, civil rights disobedience and protests were becoming our everyday tool. Just as strikes, demonstrations, and the union organization became yours to ensure that bargaining power genuinely exists on both sides of the table. We want to rely upon the goodwill of those who oppose us. Indeed, we have brought forward the method of nonviolence to give our example of goodwill in an effort to evoke it in those who have not yet felt in their hearts. But we know that if we are not simultaneously organizing our strength, we will have no means to move forward. If we do not advance, the crushing burden of centuries of neglect and economy deprivation will destroy our will, our spirit, and our hopes. In this way, labor historic tradition of moving forward to create vital peoples as consumers and citizens. Dr. King once told a group of sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee in 1968, we got to give ourselves to this struggle until the end. Nothing would be more tragic than to stop at this point. We've got to see it through. Dr. King believed the struggle of Memphis exposed the need of economic equality and social justice. Elmore Nickelberg, one of the Memphis, Tennessee sanitation workers, in 1968 said when they decided to stand up for themselves in the workplace and bring a union in, that's what triggered the strike. Joe Warren, another Memphis, Tennessee worker at the time, said everybody needs a union in the workplace. That's the only way you would get fair treatment. Ivan Turner was also a sanitation worker in Memphis, Tennessee in 1968. He said you got to stand strong together with the community, labor and civil rights organizations, and especially among the churches. In order to win, he said that's how they won the rights to the union in the workplace. Time and history has proven over and over again a lie will not live forever. Just like Dr. King once said in a speech, I am convinced that we shall overcome, because the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. The question I have today for the whole town of Chapel Hill, when time and history reveals itself for this moment, which side of history will you be on? The right side or the wrong side of history? Let me help you with the right side of history. The U.S. Department of Labor Hall of Fame in April of 28 of 2011, of Fame said when they gave a ceremony for the 1,300 sanitation workers who participated in the historical 1968 strike in Memphis, Tennessee, members of the union with the support of the community and churches and labels and civil rights organizations, they were and is on the right side of history. Now we come here today, Chapel Hill, asking you all to stand with us, the community, the churches, if you want a fair place for your kids to go out and work. We will go to court in September, and we'd like for the whole town to be behind us, to stand with us. God bless you, and thank you.